Welcome back. 412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. Josh Taylor, Gene Collier here in studio. We're taking your phone calls. Gene, before we went to break, we were discussing the Pirates, and I wanted to get into something specific here. We talked about the lineup that they've used for the past couple of days. Me personally, I actually do like it. I think putting their best 5 hitters in the top half of the order works for them. But besides that, pitching's going to get a shot in the arm. Trevor Williams, their most consistent starter in the past 2 years, he returns from his injury on Wednesday. And then we're talking about the schedule itself and where this team actually has some space to make up some ground. Wanted to get your thoughts on that, maybe cornucopia of subjects, if you will.
Well, Josh, I think you've illuminated this often on the show recently. And the Pirates situation right now is that their pitching is a wreck.
Yep.
Nothing good will happen until their pitching is not a wreck. Now, a wreck. Trevor Williams comes back Wednesday. I guess Mitch Keller for a third time tomorrow night.
Yep, he goes tomorrow.
But there are way, way too many people. When you watch the Pirates, Josh, and you look at through the center field camera on who's on the mound, there are way too many people with numbers in the 60s and 70s. There are too many offensive linemen on this team, specifically on the mound. And you're not going to win that way until you get your minor leaguers back in the minor leagues.
I think that's fair. I've never heard that analogy. Too many offensive linemen on the mound. That's a good one. To your point, Gene, we have Rob on Twitter who says the Pirates should take a look at a former reliever for the Angels and the Indians, Cody Allen. He says he'd rather have Allen pitching out of the bullpen than a lot of these AAA guys. I actually happen to like that idea. I was a big fan of Cody Allen when he was in Cleveland because if you remember, when Cleveland had Andrew Miller and he was kind of doing that fireman role, maybe 2 or 3 innings at a time, Cody Allen was the guy that would give the ball too late in the game. And he was one of their back-end guys that they really, really trusted. Now, whether or not he's the same guy from a couple years ago probably remains to be seen. Can he get back to that? That's probably a bigger question. But any bullpen help at this point, I don't know about you, Gene. I'm all for it at this point.
Well, sure. I mean, I like Cody Allen, too. The question is, what's the price?
That's true. I mean, for a guy that's been DFA'd, there may be a trade involved. That's something we have to look into in the meantime. But we will go to the phone lines, 412-575-2600. We got Pete in Squirrel Hill. Pete, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, guys. How are you tonight? Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for calling in.
Last night, Josh, I called in. Rich was sitting there with Andrew Filippone, and I asked a simple question. When you look around at the young superstars in baseball, Josh, the young guys, okay, Bellinger's 23, Acuna Jr., 21. Carlos Correa is in his 5th year starting at shortstop with the Astros. He's 24 years old. They all won Rookie of the Year at 20. My question was, why can't the Pirates find one of them guys that they bring up at that early age, 20, 21, and make immediate impacts in the game? They hung up on me, and Andrew Filippone's response is, what about Andrew McCutchen? Andrew McCutchen was nowhere near the majors when he was 20 or 21. So I just want to get some feedback from you on why the Pirates can't land anybody that has that impact on the game at that age. I know it's tough, okay? It's like hitting a lottery, but the Pirates just don't seem like they can do it. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thanks for the call. I'll give you 2 answers to this question. One, if I knew that myself, I'd be working there and not here. And that's in all seriousness. Number 2, there's something that has to be mentioned here. Correa, number 1 overall pick, Gene?
I believe so.
If I'm not mistaken. Some of these guys were either pretty highly drafted or they were pretty sizable bonus free agent signings as far as international free agents were concerned. And so that's something you have to mention there because they're not going to get a shot at the Carlos Correa because they haven't been that bad to land the Carlos Correa. So I don't think that's necessarily fair. Now, they've had opportunities with first-round picks and number 1 overalls. The best one of recent note was Garrett Cole, and we know how that story turned out. But they've had other shots at first-round picks and things haven't gone well. So as far as draft is concerned, they don't have that opportunity right now. Now, as far as finding talent and signing international free agents, we know they've signed Starling Marte and Gregory Polanco, but that's been a pretty big wide margin since then, right, Gene?
Well,
since Elias Diaz was brought in,
Josh Bell's
that's been a wide
player.
margin. So now you're down to guys like Josh Bell, who took a while to develop, by the way. So there's that too. But there's 2 sides to this. One, they're not in position to draft guys that high like a Carlos Correa, but at the same time, there hasn't been that same kind of cachet when they're finding international free agents either. I think that's a fair point.
Well, some of these players you're mentioning, Correa, Bellinger, these are potentially once-in-a-generation players. That's just a spin of the roulette wheel. They just came up with the Astros and the Dodgers. instead of the Pirates. I mean, I don't know how you can blame the Pirates for not getting one of those players. If you're frustrated and it seems like they never get one of those players, I can only tell you that the criticism that the Pirates do not develop players is just incorrect. They developed Josh Bell, they developed Kevin Newman, they developed Garrett Cole, and other examples. They're not abysmal at player development in my view.
It raises the question. I mentioned Garrett Cole, how that story ended. Let's bring it back around to that, because you do have some of those guys that do have prime talent, like a Garrett Cole was a #1 overall pick, and he's not here. Now, some people will tell you Garrett Cole didn't want to be here, and that's probably a valid point if you peel back that layer of the onion. But at the same time, we're talking about an organization that's had opportunities to draft players over the years. They've brought players in that had pretty good talent. Now, Andrew McCutchen was a guy that was discussed. But there's a line that you draw between when you're a team that's that far out of contention where you can draft higher and a team like the Pirates, who's drafted pretty much in the middle of the draft the last 10 or so years, Gene?
Well, that's right. And if you look at the Astros had to lose something like 333 games in 3 years to be in position to get those players.
That's what got them Correa and Bregman and those players of that caliber. Right. That's what made the difference, honestly. So, I mean, granted, then you have the George Springers of the world who were, in fairness, George Springer was a monster in Double-A. I got to see him up close. Really, really talented guy. So there is a difference there between having, because once you have once in those generation or once in a decade type players, they're going to go in the first 5 picks. Right. They're not going to go that late. They're going to go early in the round, except if you're maybe Mike Trout. That might be the lone exception. Mm-hmm. Chuck in Uniontown's on the line. Chuck, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Chuck, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Josh, Gene,
hi.
Thank
Good to talk to you, Chuck.
Yeah, as far as the Pirates are concerned, I see that if they have any hope, any faint hope, and it's fading fast of being a contender, they need to win all 5 games on this homestand, 5-0 and nothing less, because after this homestand, they go out on a tough road trip to Houston and Milwaukee, and they're going to have to at least break even there.
Yep.
Because remember, fellas, a contending team, rule number 1 is they got to be over 500. And if the Pirates don't go 5-0 on this homestand, I think the season may be just about over.
Thanks for the call, Chuck. And those are all valid points, especially the part about going to Houston and going to Milwaukee, because we already know what Milwaukee represents to this franchise. But going to Houston and dealing with that rotation and that loaded lineup, we already talked about Carlos Correa. You got Alex Bregman, George Springer, guys we just talked about. They have a lot of talent, pretty much a guy at every spot in the lineup in Houston. So that's another challenge that they have. I did the on my show yesterday morning on the Sunday Morning Grind with Greg Finley, Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan, 7 a.m. on Sundays. We did the world's worst, we call the world's worst Pirates preview. And we previewed this Tigers series, and Greg and I both agree that they need to win both games of this series. Now, here's what I'll tell you, and Gene, by all means, weigh in if you can. The one thing I think the Pirates have going for them is that they're expected, if you look at how the pitching matchups line up, they're expected to face 2 lefties. And they got a handful of guys that are switch hitters, and they just happen to be Brian Reynolds, Melky Cabrera, Josh Bell. What do those 3 guys have in common, Gene? They've been 3 of their better hitters this season. That's one thing that I think helps them, but just in this particular matchup.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, and I have great respect for Chuck's analysis of the Pirates, but as desperate as they are to play better at home, I mean, you can't take these teams 5 at a time. The Pirates have all they can do to win 1 game. But, I mean, as far as a practical matter, yeah, they'd better win 5 of these or 4 of these. And then, the one thing that's been weird about the Pirates is that when they've been faced with daunting road trips, they've done pretty well.
Right.
They went to L.A., San Diego, and what was the other team? I guess Arizona at the time, went 8-2. They can't seem to win at home. But really, again, the bottom line is that their pitching is a mess and it has to improve.
We will take a break. We got more phone calls on the way. We got some tweets to answer as well. Stick around.